Hey, good people of YouTube, here's a film that I really didn't think you were going to see because it deals with the lack of personal freedoms, how Russia tried to sell a mind-altering piece of kit to the Americans, and ultimately how 72 men, women, and children died in a terrible fire caused by an experimental American government crowd control gas that exploded. Now, that is just a précis of what happened, of course, at the Waco Siege. Exactly the kind of film that you won't see on YouTube because none of the YouTube advertisers want these kind of subjects. And as a filmmaker, that's exactly what I'm interested in. Because advertisers rule the roost at YouTube, they don't want controversial films. They want unboxing videos, anything deal with law enforcement servicemen being killed and strange religious cults being altered by mind control from Russian microwave devices. No. I'm horrified by the story. I'm intrigued by the technology. I like to expose military secrets, and in no way can it ever be part of the YouTube advertising friendly guidelines policy. That's no damn good as a filmmaker. So I'm going to share the film with you today. You've already noticed there's no adverts. Of course not. YouTube hate it. That's fine by me. I don't like adverts. I'd much prefer the films to be completely advertisement free. And that's why I post to Patreon. So I hear you're all shouting, no, not Patreon. That would cost us a whole $1. Yeah, it's a $1 a month. Let me explain how it works and why it's actually a great deal. So when you watch YouTube, they've got adverts, and advertising costs money. And so that money for the advertising campaigns is added on to the cost of things that you buy. So for example, a car costing $30,000 costs $35,000 because you are paying for YouTube advertising. And YouTube, by the way, is probably the world's biggest advertising platform right now. Last year, they made $22 billion profit from independent filmmakers like me who produce content for YouTube. So wouldn't it be better to, instead of paying $5,000 extra for your car, to pay the filmmakers directly $1? This film that I'm going to share with you today that I thought you would never see has been out on Patreon for weeks. And not only this version, what I do, and it's such fun, is first of all, I post a poster. I'm working on this subject. People comment, give me their inside information. Then I give my patrons an early cut to watch, probably just me talking. And again, their knowledge and their insights inform me as a filmmaker what's working and what's wrong and what's boring. That leads to a finished first cut, which again is only available on Patreon, that they can comment on. And if there's still something majorly wrong, often spelling mistakes, I can correct it long before or if it ever gets posted to YouTube. But the big issue with YouTube is subject matter. If it's not advertiser friendly, and many of my films deal with difficult subjects, UAP research, secret military technology, government secrets, all the kind of things that mainstream advertising don't want on YouTube. But now let me tell you something I love about social media filmmaking. I'm old and I've worked in broadcast television since I was 19 in 1978. I deserve a medal. The thing about broadcast television is that they are closed to viewer input. They research the film, they fact check, it goes through an editorial process, and it's transmitted. People write in and said, you got it wrong, or I know better information. Tough. They're never going to make another one. That was the end of the story. Social media broadcasting or modern TV on your computer is exactly what we need. You know more than me. I am a filmmaker and a researcher. You have spent your entire life studying and working in one specialist field. You know more about something than anybody else in the world. And we can share that information and make really interesting films. So I'm here to absorb and share that information because the truth is out there. I want to bring it to a wider audience. And YouTube is spoiling that. The only interaction filmmakers get with YouTube audience who know their stuff is after the film is made, a comment. It's just like TV. There's no real interaction with you who know more than the filmmakers. And that's what I love about Patreon. And you can get involved. You pledge $1 and I get $1. So for your generous monthly contribution, you get early access to early cuts, a way of interacting directly with me to share your knowledge about the subject, and I will integrate what you know into the film. There's a Discord server where we all can discuss new ideas or comment on old ideas to make better films. It's a great shame that YouTube is only an advertiser-censored commercial channel. It's restricting your choice as a viewer. So what I'm suggesting today and offering to you is to get on the ground floor of a new way of making socially interactive films, a new wave of television. Because I know the viewers know more on the subject than the filmmakers, if only there was a way of joining us all together. And there's a direct way of doing that. Instead of you being charged this invisible advertising rate on everything that you buy, choose a handful of your favorite channels and support those filmmakers directly with $1. Plus, it's an open door, I choose my words carefully, to a new way of making television. It's about you and the filmmakers interacting, working together to make a more interesting content. So here today is a film that YouTube hate. It's a film that you shouldn't be seeing on YouTube. A hard watch about a tricky and difficult subject to report on. But most of all, it's a film that YouTube censor because of its advertising policy. Break those bonds. Support your favorite filmmakers by becoming a Patreon for $1 today. Thank you. Welcome back. Today I found startling new information about the Waco Siege.
A 51-day siege by U.S. law enforcement, with deadly gun battles, terror from the air, and a raging inferno that left more than 75 people dead, including many women and children.
That event changed the United States. People realized after Waco that their personal, religious, or beliefs would be undermined by their government.
It happened outside Waco, Texas, a heavily armed compound, a religious cult.
4 law enforcement agents are dead.
Federal agents prepared for the worst in dealing with the Branch Davidians
and cult leader David Koresh. I'll be honest, we saw what happened at Waco.
I think you have to worry about Waco when people start showing up with guns and saying they're willing to take on the federal government.
So that's how it's gone down in history. A fundamental change in your human rights. But I've found something much more sinister. As far away from Texas as the United Kingdom, lessons were learned from the Waco Siege. Lessons such as how do you actually negotiate with people with strong religious conviction who are willing to die or kill you. And the lesson that was learned from Waco is it's extremely hard, but maybe there's a better way in dealing with a hostage situation.
On February 28, 1993, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms raided the compound. The Branch Davidians responded with gunfire and quickly killed 4 agents. Inside the buildings, Koresh and his followers hunkered down, refusing to surrender.
So today, sit back and listen to what I'm going to tell you about a method of altering the minds of people in a hostage situation. Some of you old enough like me will remember what actually happened. Armed officers stormed the building, loudspeakers called them to come out, and really sadly, officers were killed. Those deaths escalated the whole siege up the chain of command, right to the very top. The siege became international news, and the Soviet Union of the day had a technique that could help. For years and years, the Soviets have been experimenting with brain-altering research. Possibly because they had similar situations to the Waco Siege. I don't know. But they developed a technique to alter the minds of the people inside the compound. Today, I can tell you what actually happened. The Russians approached their American counterparts and offered them this. This is a Russian mind-altering machine, a way of putting thoughts into people's heads. Research has found that our brains, our neurons, can be altered by microwaves. In this stunning and secret research paper, you can see how experiments were done to make people think differently. Neurophysiological effects of radio frequency. For the past 5 years, awareness has been increasing among neurobiologists of ways in which information is processed in brain tissue. By radiating themselves with these voice-modulated microwaves, Sharp and Grove were readily able to hear, identify, and distinguish among the 9 words. So did the Russians actually help liberate the Waco complex? Actually not. The American military, the FBI, the CIA, whoever it was, said to the Russians, "Thanks a lot, but we actually have a machine like this of our own." And today, as a startling revelation, I can confirm that they used it against Koresh and his devotees inside the Waco complex.
On March 9th, with temperatures dropping to 20 degrees, the on-scene commander raised the stakes and cut electricity to Mount Carmel. The FBI flooded the building with light and blasted them with sounds like dentist drills, Tibetan chants, and the screaming of rabbits being slaughtered.
Did they alter the minds of the people inside the complex? Who knows, because sadly it ended in this terrible fire. The final outcome was possibly caused by the ignition of a secret crowd-controlling gas that was pumped into the building, killing over 70 civilians inside the complex. So is that the end of the story? Absolutely not. Microwave mind control continues to this day. There was even a proposal to use it in Iraq. And who knows where else? Haven't we all had strange thoughts put into our heads? The truth is out there. So let me put a strange thought in your head now, and that is, if you enjoy this type of hard-hitting film, use the link in the description to join me and your other favorite filmmakers by direct support via Patreon.